So one of my viewers asked me if I would watch this video, and it's called You Are Norwegian If. So interested to see this, see what makes someone Norwegian. Tell me if this applies to you. Let's watch.
It's like proper storming outside. Ugh. So because I've made a lot of videos about Norway and being Norwegian on my channel, I've got a lot of different questions. Specifically, the ones that I get the most are you Norwegian and do you speak Norwegian? Just to put the whole myth to bed. Hei, jeg heter Ingeborg, jeg snakker norsk, jeg norsk. But if you are still in doubt, there are a few things that I think only happens to real Norwegians. You are proper Norwegian if you've ever owned a pair of cross-country skis. Skiing is very important in Norway, and you know, we had the expression Norwegians are born with skis on their feet, so even though I can't ski for shit, I am definitely Norwegian because I have owned a pair of cross-country skis.
Yeah, tell me if that applies to you. That's what I've seen on videos before that, yeah, children, most children I believe in Norway try skiing at least, or do some sort of skiing. Is it applicable to you? Do you know anybody that doesn't apply to?
You are proper Norwegian if you've ever experienced going to school or to work in the dark, being there all day and coming home and it's still or already being dark. During winter time, we have what is called a shortened day in Norway, especially if you live really far north, which means that the sun might not even rise. For those of us who live a little bit further south, we might enjoy maybe 4 or 5 hours of daylight, and those in the north have absolutely none. I have really good memories of going to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, not seeing the sunlight until maybe for lunch break, and then going back into school, coming back out again when we're finished and the sun is already gone. And on that note, you're probably...
Yeah, that one even applies to Scotland as well. I remember going to work when I lived there, when it was dark, coming home when it was dark as well. It is quite strange, but yeah, again, it's nothing compared to northern Norway, which I can imagine would just be quite challenging as much as it is interesting to live.
We also experience the opposite effect, which is that the sun barely even goes down. Now, as for the north, when the sun doesn't come up in the winter, it actually doesn't even set in summer. Now, you are a proper Norwegian if someone has ever asked you how you are going to spend your oil money. Now, the concept that seems kind of hard for some people to grasp is that it's not every individual Norwegian person's oil money that we get. It's set aside in a fund for the entire country. I know it's like 11,000 billion kroners. It's an insane amount of money, at least that I know. But it doesn't belong to any of us. It belongs to the country as a whole. And no Norwegian is rich just because of the oil money. You are a proper Norwegian if you have eaten more than your average share of potatoes. Seriously? Norwegians love potatoes. Pretty much any sort of standard traditional Norwegian dish has boiled or mashed potatoes next to it. I think the only country that could probably rival us in our potato consumption is Ireland.
Yeah,
you
that's
are
what I was going to say.
Norwegian
Like
if
them in
you've ever
Scotland
been
too.
asked if you've owned, ridden, seen, had any sort of verb that has to do with a polar bear. Like, seriously,
Really?
do you honestly think that we let our polar bears just roam around free? I know that that was a hard concept for some of you to grasp in my previous video. It is, however, a big joke because polar bears are about 3 meters high and will kill you instantly because they can eat your head. And also, you...
Yeah, tell me if that you've ever been asked. I never really considered that being like an issue in Norway, but yeah, maybe some people just have a weird stereotype about Norway. Tell me if you've ever been asked about polar bears like that.
Proper Norwegian if you've ever owned a full body winter suit for playing outside in. Now, we see little kids that have those on, but there are also adults that wear them. They are basically a winter jacket onesie. So you just slip them on, put your feet in, put your whole thing on, and just zip it all up, and then put your boots on, and you're ready to go. Every single Norwegian kid who has ever been in a kindergarten that has an outside play area has one of those suits. Now guys, I've also made a couple of other videos about Norway. They will be appearing around my head in this vicinity. Feel free to click them. And of course, you can always put your input in the comment.
Yeah, maybe I'll check out some of those ones as well. If you've got any other recommendations for video, please tell me in the comments. But yeah, some interesting things. Yeah, I've definitely heard things about things like the skis. And again, the full bodysuit makes sense since it's so cold. Have you ever wore one of them as an adult? I actually think that would be quite fun and quite comforting to wear. But yeah, some of the other things I hadn't realised that would be applicable to Norwegians, especially being asked about polar bears. So tell me what you think about these. How many of the boxes do you tick for these? Are you truly Norwegian according to this list? Thanks.